Hello viewers, welcome to my channel PC Geo Kimberlite. Today we are going to see how you are going to identify the megascopic igneous rock in the practical. This is the first basic practical for FIBSc students who are coming first time in the lab to study the rocks, and this is a first rock, that is a igneous rock. So here how these rocks are studied and how the students can go step by step analyzing the various parameters for identifying the rock, and ultimately they conclude whether it is igneous granite rock, or it is a basalt rock, or it is a pegmatite, or whether it is a rhyolite. So now igneous rocks, this is what we have: the primary rock. Igneous rocks is normally called as a primary rock, those rocks which are crystallized from the molten magma. What is a magma? A pyroclastic material, a liquid which is present below the surface or at a greater depth. So that liquid below the surface is called as magma, which contain all the elements in the different composition. So if this liquid is due to high pressure temperature condition has erupted on the surface through a pipe-like structure and through volcanoes, it is erupted on the surface, then that liquid, which is now being called as a magma on the lower side below the surface, once it comes on the surface, we call it is as a lava. So remember these two definitions. One is magma, this is the liquid or molten liquid or pyroclastic material present below the surface of the earth. But the same liquid, when it is erupted on the surface and on the surface, then this liquid, instead of calling it is as a magma, we call, now it will be termed as a lava. This is clear. Now these magma will kind of compose all the constituents, whatever the elements which are present available on the surface of the earth, they are there within that particular magma. But their composition is varies from elements to element. But now there are the 9 important elements are there. They have been abundantly found within this rock formation of the mineral. Rest one will be a very few percentages remaining. Now, in the igneous rock, when you are going to identify them, so first basic simple thing what we are going to make out, once you see already you have studied the mineral in the hand specimen, there we have seen certain parameter like a color, streak, form, luster, hardness, fracture, cleavage, specificity. This is the way we have studied one by one properties, and on the particular diagnostic property we identified that particular name of the mineral, or we identified the mineral that this is the garnet, this is the kyanite, this is quartz, this is the hornblende. Yes, so this is the way we identified. Similarly, the rock also we are going to identify. But now, before going to identify the very on the basis of the parameter, first we will see what are the characters of the igneous rock. Yes, that is the each rock has its own characters. Now, the this particular, when you're going to study any particular rock, then that branch is called as a petrology. So there is a important branch after this mineralogy. The whatever the mineral which are crystallizing from the molten material, they first form the minerals. Mineral come together, going to form a cluster, and we are going to get the first rock, that is the primary rock, and this primary rock is called as the igneous rock. Igneous means fire. From the fire, high temperature pressure conditions of the magma will be there. So that temperatures will be very high, 1000 degree or more than that. The temperature depending upon from what level it has been come out. So these magma has been high temperature. This look like as a fireball, and from that the magma has cooled down, crystallized, giving rise to first minerals. Minerals crystallize, cluster together, going to form the rock, and that rock we called as primary rock or igneous rock. So this is the first simple, that what is the origin of the igneous rock? That is from the pyroclastic material. From this magma they are crystallized from the consolidation. So the second important point, in this igneous rock we are going to get the crystals. Minerals are available. Minerals we are going to get in this particular one. So second important point, crystals or minerals are present in the igneous rock. Third important one, there is no interspace between the two crystals. They are compact, solid, very hard, tough. So that's why they are using for the building material. Yes, that will be the various uses of that particular igneous rock is there. It is a very hard, compact because there is no interspace is present. Then the next one point is that depending upon which particular level it has been crystallized, sometime 100% we are going to get the crystal. Then that rock we called as hollow crystalline rock. Hollow means complete 100, and crystalline. The rock contain 100% crystal. It is called as hollow crystalline rock. Sometimes the magma is erupted on the surface and there is no time for the center of crystallization, along which the elements can contract and slowly the crystal is formed. So there is no time. So that is labile and metastable stages are rapidly gone, and this will be rapidly cooled down. Then at that moment, the magma could not form a single crystal. So here we are going to form the glass. Then 100% glass is there which has been formed, then that particular rock we called as hollow hyaline. Hollow means 100. Hyaline means glass. 100% the rock is composed of the glassy material, the obsidian and the pitch stone. These are the two best examples for the glassy material. Whereas 100% we have the granite, basalt. These are the what we have. The 100% the rock is made up of the crystals. This is clear. Now, when we are going to have the 50% glass and 50% crystals are there, then it is a hemicrystalline or it is a hemihyaline. Yes, the hemicrystalline that will be there. The half crystal will be there. 50% crystal, 50% glass is there. So that is there. So here, the whatever the igneous rock is there, it is solid. Second one, it contains crystals or mineral. Third one, there is no interspace will be present. Fourth one, it may contain crystals or it may have the glass. So there will be admixture. So hollow hyaline, hollow crystalline, hollow crystalline, or hemimorphic form. So hemimorphic or hemihyaline or mesohyaline that we called as that particular rock. Next one, in igneous rock, we don't find any fossils. Fossils are avoided. No fossils are there. If any organism, whether plant or animal, has come in contact with this particular magma, then the whole organism, that particular plant, has been burned out. So its hard parts will not be preserved. So there is no fossils. It is a void of fossils. So fossils are totally absent. We don't find any fossil in igneous rock. That is very important one. Next one, igneous rock shows you the textures, the whatever the crystals or minerals are present within the rock, they are arranged in a certain group. Example, in a particular class, there are the 50 boys, and now there is a capacity of that particular class to sitting capacity is there, 100 capacity is there, now 50. So everyone will leisurely sitting now. Yes, so that will be it might be in a one chair on the desk, maybe one or maybe two, that will be the different arrangement has taken place. But instead of the 50, when there will be 150 students has come out, then on a one bench, when there is a sitting arrangement is of a two or three is there, then in that one more person will be go and sit over there. So compactness has been taken place. So that will be going to make out. So the arrangement has been changed. So depending upon the crystal, how they are arranged, the pattern of arrangement of the crystal or minerals within the rock is called as the textures. The arrangement of crystal within the rock is being called as a texture. So igneous rock show you some textures, that is equigranular and inequigranular. Equigranular means those rock more or less they are the same size. Whatever the crystals are there or minerals are there, they are of the same size. Shape may be different. Euhedral, subhedral, anhedral, that is not been bothered. But now more or less the size will be same. Then this will be called as equigranular textures. And to represent this texture, the granite is there. So the granite rock or granite texture is called as granitic textures. Remember now, Granite texture means it is nothing but it is the equigranular texture, because in that particular rock all grains are more or less of same size. Next one, there will be inequigranular textures. That is, one is very coarse and second one is very fine. So one coarse and very fine. So there is a different arrangement. For example, in a class of FYBSc, some students of SYBSc are sitting, some of the TYBSc students are sitting. So there will be, now grades are different. So admixture of different sizes. As per the class, they have been come together for a division. For example, FY first year boys, second year boys, third year boys are sitting in that particular, or students have been sitting in that class. So that is the admixture, coarse, medium, and fine grain. So it is called as inequigranular. The grades which are there, that is called as inequigranular. Then that will be have for the first one is porphyritic, large grain surrounded by the smaller crystals. Large grains surround F. Say example, a one MSc student has been sit together, surrounded by the FIBSS student. Then in their class, whatever the standard they have been studying now, they will be varies. One is MSc and second one is a BSc one, surrounded by the BSc student, FIBS. So to learn them, then that particular pattern will be called as the porphyritic one. So this way we are going to have the textures. But rest one in the textures, that will be the important equigranular and equigranular textures that we are going to see in an igneous rock. Similar one, structure. What is the structure? The surface of the rock will show you some features. Then this is called as the structures. For example, the igneous rock has been crystallized into a columnar form, columnar structure or column like structure, polygonal, hexagonal, or column like a structure is there, then that is called as columnar structure. Or in basalt there is the vesicles are there, pores are there of different size or shape will be there, then this is called as a vesicular structure. And these vesicles are being filled by the secondary material, and now these secondary material which has been filled by the secondary material zeolites, and then these cavities are filled by that secondary material is called as amygdules. The cavities filled by the secondary material, then that will be the called as the amygdules, and the structure is called as amygdaloidal structure. So this is the structure which is shown by the igneous rock. Then the next one is there, if these cavities are interconnected and all these interconnected cavities are filled by the zeolite secondary material, and you are going to see a pipe-like structure, then this is called as a amygdaloidal pipe-like structure. Amygdaloidal pipe-like structure. Or sometimes you are going to see a flow structure. Yes, a flow type of structure you are going to see, that is the flow or ropey structure. So these are the structure which have been shown by the igneous rock, which are not been shown by the other rock, whether secondary rock or tertiary rock. They are not going to, they are the typically shown by only igneous rock. Textures and structures are shown by the igneous rock. Very important one, next point, in igneous rock, whatever the minerals are present, they have been divided into two categories. One we called as the essential minerals, and second one is called as accessory minerals. Say example, in your family, your grandfather's grandmother is there, then father, mother is there, your sisters are there, your brothers are there, your uncles are there. So that will be a big family. But somebody is having a small child of 6 months or 2 months, then what is happening? When you're going to define that family, sometimes we could not take the name of that small child, but we are going to take the name of those who are very old. We'll take the first name of grandparents, then fathers, then their your range of student, whatever your names are there, sisters and brothers. But those who have the smaller one, we don't take. But that smaller one we called as accessory. We could not take into the consideration when we are going to define the family. But when you're going to define the family at that time, if you don't take the name of your grandparents, or you're not taken your father parents name, then what is happening? Your family will not be complete. So similar one, in this rock, when you're going to define, there are the two categories of minerals are there. One, they are the essential one, which will be you have to describe them, that their presence is a very, very important one. If you don't count them in analyzing, identifying the name of the rock, then you're going to go in a different wrong direction. So you have to take into the consideration these essential minerals. So there in this igneous rock, there may be more than 2, 3 or maximum 4 or 5 essential minerals are there. Their presence we have to take into the count when you're going to identify any particular rock. So these are the essential one. Accessory mineral, there are the number of accessory mineral, 5, 6, 7, 8, but their presence we are not going to taken into the consideration when we are going to define or classifying the igneous rock. So clear now the essential minerals and accessory minerals. Yes. The next one, when you're going to classify, how you're going to classify, the various classification is there. So that is also my video is there. That will be a separate one classification. But here I'll take a little bit of the classification, that when you're going to identify a particular rock, what will be its type classification at that time based on whatever the observation you're going to see in that rock. On that basis, we can try to analyze. Yes, that is a practical method we are going to adopt. The first one, depending upon the color of the rock. Depending upon the color of the rock, we can have the three basic. There will be four, but we are normally in the FI we're going to make out the three. That is the light color, medium color, and dark color. Whatever the light color is there, we call it as leucocratic. Leuco means light, cratic means color. Leucocratic means light color rock. Then the medium color is there, it is called as mesocratic. Meso means intermediate. Mesocratic color. And when it is dark, it is called as melanocratic. Melano means dark color. So leucocratic, mesocratic, melanocratic. And if you want one more, but in the TY this will be normally we are going to use in SY or TY, but in FY we are going to concentrate only leucocratic, mesocratic or melanocratic. But still I give you because it will be useful in your preparation, because once you get this in your mind that there is one more is there, that is the hypermelanocratic. That is a very dark and very dark. Yes, so hypermelanocratic, leucocratic, mesocratic, melanocratic and hypermelanocratic. On the basis of these one, we will try to judge the name, the composition of that particular magma, whether the what will be the magma composition, whether the magma is a light color, intermediate color, or it is a dark color. When we are going to see a rock is a light color, then immediately we say that in that particular rock we have a light color minerals are there. So which are the light color minerals? Those which are the colorless one. For example, we have the quartz and the feldspar. These are the light ones, so they are presence will be more. But in addition to this, whenever light little bit of dark color, we are going to get into that. That might be your biotite is there, hornblende is there. You have to find out, check with some of the properties. But this is the way you are going to make out. But once we see the color of that particular rock is a light, we call it as a leucocratic, and the nature of the magma we will analyze as it is a acidic magma, where the composition of this magma contain more silica, where it more than 65%. The average normally we can make it that whatever the silica is there from 65 to 100% silica when it is there in that particular rock, these are called as acidic one. So on the basis of the color, we will first recognize that this rock is acidic in nature. When it is from 65 to 55, as intermediate color is there, then that silica will be from this one to 65 to 55. Then that is the intermediate color is there. Then we called as it is the basic color. Then it is still darker one. It is the ultra basic. So we have acidic, basic, and ultra basic. So this is the way you are going to identify on the basis of the color: acidic, basic, ultra basic. And there will be still, if it dark ultramafic, we are going to make out. But these are the three for FIBSc. We'll just concentrate. We have acidic, basic, and ultra basic. This is clear. This is based on the color. Next one, depending upon the grain size. What will be the grain size is there? If very coarse grain is there, immediately we collect that these particular minerals are crystallized at a greater depth. So it should be a plutonic one. Whenever a quartz grain is there in that particular granite rock, in a igneous rock, then we call it is the rock is a plutonic in origin. The second one, very fine. We could not identify single crystal. Very fine. That means it has been erupted on the surface and magma will be drastically cooled down. So very fine crystals are there. Then that is the volcanic one. So depending upon at a greater depth, the coarse grain will crystallize, and opposite on the top we have the fine grain above the surface. So it is the volcanic one, and intermediate we have the hypobasal. But for this especially pegmatite, this is the pegmatite rock which is crystallized at very end when the magma, say 100%, 1 liter of magma is there. Out of the 1 liter magma, the magma started cooling down, say 700, 800. So composition is going to change because elements are taken out and crystals are forming. So ultimately there is a residue, the liquid which is remaining now, residual liquid we call it is, and slowly that is remaining, and ultimately last in 300 ml is remaining. So in that volatile gaseous material, some material elements will be present. So it will not cool. So it will take a very long time to crystallize. Gases, vapors are there. So the whatever the time which is taken for crystallization of the remaining 700 ml, 10 times or maybe 20 times the time will taken for a crystallization of that 300 ml. So slowly what is happening, whatever the crystal which are formed, there are big sheets of mica has been formed, 10 meters big sheets. I have seen in Hazaribagh, that is the Jumri Talaiya, that is the Bihar mine. When we have visited during the MSc, I have seen 10 meters big sheets of mica. So that is the there. So these are called as the hypobasal rock, but now their size is greater than the plutonic one. But this is the exception because there will be these particular rock are crystallized at a very late stage, and due to this, the vapors and gases, it will take a long time than the what time which is required in the plutonic one. So that is only one exception is there of pegmatite, and that is the hypobasal one. So second one we have seen the classification based on the grain size. First one we have seen on the basis of the color. Second one based on the color we have been seeing. And the third one we are going to see the classification based on the feldspar family. In that feldspar family we have two important minerals. One is plagioclase and second one is orthoclase. Plagioclase is somewhat white and gray in color, whereas orthoclase is flesh red color. And if you see the composition, where the plagioclase is there, it is calcium. It is calcium rich. Yes. And whereas the orthoclase is alkali rich. NaK is dominating. Calcium is there, but it is lesser amount. So here we have the calcium one rich plagioclase, and alkali NaK will be there, that is the orthoclase. Here we have the flesh red color, and here we have the gray or white color. So whenever any one mineral is there, say example in a granite, we got a granite which is a gray color. Now I can see in that particular slide you are going to see a granite is there and which is a gray color. Now why this gray color? Because in that gray color we have the quartz. In addition to that, whatever the feldspar is there, that is the plagioclase is present, and that is the gray color. So immediately we'll say a gray granite is there. Yes, this is a gray granite. So we'll say that it is the calc alkali. Whenever the plagioclase is present, calcium is dominating. So calc and alkali we are written in the back because alkali is less. Calc alkali series rock. Then this is the way classification reason. Calc alkali series rock. But in this case, if you find a pink granite, you have seen in most of the hotels when you go for a food. So whatever the tables are there, they are using the various decorated rocks. They are using granites. Normally they use or marble they are going to use, but most of the time granites are being used for flooring also. So when you walk on that granite, see very carefully your walk. Otherwise, it is a slippery. So because they are polished one, and in that you can see that various colors of granites here they have been used. And if you find any granite which is a pink in color, so that means in that there is the orthoclase is dominating. So once the orthoclase is dominating, alkali is dominating. So we at that time in the classification will write as alkali calc series rock. Alkali calc series rock. This is the way you are going to write down the classification of this igneous rock. Yes. So this is the basic three important type which will be required, and the third one on the basis of the depth we have seen. One color we have seen, second one on the grain size, and third one the depth. So these three classifications are there in the basically for FY BSc students, and that is in the theory, and some addition is there, but that is not required in the practical. But in the practical, these three you have to be remember. So these are the character also we have seen. It is a solid one, 100% crystals or 100% glass or 50% 50-50 glass. So holocrystalline, holohyaline or merocrystalline. That is the merocrystalline rock. Next one, what we have seen, there is there is no gap. There is no gap in between the crystal. Yes, no interspace. So strength is a very strong. Yes, spaces are absent. Avoid of interspaces. Fossil is absent. Then whatever the crystals they are arranged, they give you the texture. Yes, equigranular, inequigranular textures. Then these rocks they are always formed in the flows, lava flows, which you are going to see in a eruption. When we are going to see the Mahabaleshwar area, if you go, there is a number of lava flows are there. Arthur Point, opposite to the Arthur Point, if you see out, there is the lava flows are there. That whatever the magma which is erupted in the form of flows, it will there. So we'll see that also different video forms of igneous rock, but that is there. So these are the characters of the igneous rock, and in that color will be light, medium, and dark. That is also a particular color is there of igneous rock, and these are the required thing which will there in the practical. I hope this is the basic clear textures structure we have also seen now. So we'll start the whatever the rocks which you are going to study in FI BSc of as per the syllabus of University of Pune, that is the SPPU, that is Savitribai Phule Pune University syllabus, and this is the practical as well as theory you are there. So theoretical also it will be help you in describing the rock. Yes, there is a description is also been given some rocks here to describe. So first, what we have taken as a rock as a granite. Yes, typical one, the basic rock of a granite which is there. So now what is the color? You can see now it is a gray color. Yes, so that is the light color. And from our department, we have taken the two sample. One is gray, and the second one sample which we are going to keep in the practical. It is also a little bit gray, and that is a little bit of fine grain. So here we will say the whatever the rock is there, it is a coarse one. Grains are somewhat medium to coarse grain is there, and they are more or less same size. So it is the equigranular texture. Yes, and now that equigranular texture has been shown by granite, so it is called as granitic texture. So here we are written as medium to grains, granitic textures. Very important one, holocrystalline, 100% glass is not there. It is 100% glass is not there. So it is 100% crystals are there. Yes, that is also very carefully. Whenever you are going to attentive, you should be very aware that you should not be somewhere out. Whenever you are going to look at my video, see, concentrate for 10-15 minutes, you can get the basic things. Yes, so here the crystal 100% crystals are there, holocrystalline rock. It is a light color, so it is a leucocratic color. Yes, whether you can write a light color or directly can, if you remember the word leucocratic, you can write down the leucocratic. We are not going to cut your marks if you don't write the leucocratic, but as a geologist, when you're going to become a geologist, then you have to use the terms which have been used in the theory as well as in the practical. So leucocratic you can mention. Sometimes if you don't mention, nobody going to cut your marks. Then after the color, the next one is the grain size. We have been discussed that medium to coarse grain. You can very clearly can see now here the whatever the rock is there, medium to grain, medium grain, and or somewhat coarse grain is there, and that is a more or less same size. So we called it is the holocrystalline, and next one equigranular, and that equigranular rock is been represented only one rock, that is a granite. So it is called as granitic texture. So this texture is granitic. Now next one, based on whatever it is the light color rock is there, we have to identify the minerals now. So you have been studied the minerals in the physical properties, list of important rock forming mineral we have seen. And in that, the first one, whenever you are going to see the gray color, most of them you are going to see the white color is there. Yes, and in that white color there are the two minerals are there. One is your quartz and second one is feldspar. Then third one calcite. Yes, but they are having the different properties. What is the important property of quartz? Quartz is the colorless. Yes, or it is a white color. Second one, it shows you vitreous one, vitreous luster in 9 specimen. But once it is coming into the group, it will not show you the vitreous luster. Yes, so that is the interesting one. Second one, if we come to the plagioclase, plagioclase shows you set of cleavage, white color. Yes, cleavage, white color, and subvitreous luster. So this is the, with this property we can find out the quartz, and sometimes quartz will look like as a surface will be, when you're going to see in the reflected light, some oily drop like thing we have been going to see. So that is the observation. If you find out, that is the well and good. Otherwise, don't know it. That is the only white color. White color, we can identify the quartz. Next one, the black color mineral is there. If black color mineral is there and it is a long flakes are there, then it is a biotite. And flakes are there. In addition, it shows pearly luster. If it shows pearly luster, then only it will be a biotite. Foliated form, you know that things, foliated form and pearly luster. This typically, if we have to see, if these are there, then the biotite is there. If it is a dark green color, prismatic needle is there, then hornblende is there. So this is the way you are going to find out the minerals over there. Yes, so in the particularly in the granite, we are going to get the quartz dominating, second one feldspar, third one biotite. These are the important minerals. Fourth one, if you get the hornblende, then it is a well and good. Otherwise, no need that only 3 minerals are enough to get that. Then the next one, the type of rock or classification. Now, first one, it is igneous. Yes, the rock we are going to define, it is igneous. But now, before igneous, what we are going to make out from the basic of the color, on the base of the, on the basis of color, what we have to identify the magma. Magma is acidic. So first word we have to write as acidic. It is a coarse one. The grains are more or less coarse one. Can see 2-3 minerals are there. Then it is the plutonic, acidic, plutonic, and now here feldspar is there, plagioclase. Then we'll write calc alkali series. So it is the acidic based on the color, grain size. It is a plutonic. It is a igneous calc alkali series rock. This is the way you have to define, and the name of the granite rock is granite or gray granite. You can particularly, if you want, specify, write down it is a gray granite. Nobody going to cut you point. This is the way you have to study the igneous rock, like a first one, that is a granite, is similar one, same composition, the rhyolite. Now what is happening in this igneous granite and rhyolite? Both have the same composition. Both have the same composition, but what is happening? Granite is crystallized at a greater depth. That is a plutonic one. But the same magma is erupted on the surface. Through on the surface, it is a crystallized. So it is a volcanic. Yes, it is a plutonic and it is the volcanic. So these are the two differences are there. So that is a very important one. Both are the light color rocks. Both are the light color rock. That is a leucophytic rock. If you see the grain size, it is a fine grained rock is there. Or sometime we can get the porphyritic also. Here we have been shown you the porphyritic also, or merocrystalline. That is the 50% glass, 50% crystal will be there. And here we are going to see the typical one, flow structure. Yes, here also can see a flow structure will be seen in that particular rhyolite, because the magma is flowing on the surface, but that magma is acidic in nature. For example, what is the difference between the acidic and basic? For simple experiment you can do, have a slope in your home, have a glass of water, just drop few glass water on the surface, what happened along the slope, water will rapidly fast move now towards the slope now. With the slope, it is go with a rapid on the downside. But same time, if you put 6-7 drops of oil on the same height of that particular slope, you will find out oil will be slowly started, and sometime after traveling shorter distance it will be stopped. So that is there. So slowly it is traveling, so there will be the flow structure has been formed, one flow like this that will going to form. So there in the particular rhyolite you are going to see the flow structure. That is a very important one is there. Now what will be the mineral composition? It is the first one, the quartz are available. Second one, now very important one, because of the pink color we can just roughly say that it is orthoclase, but actually that will be sodium albite is there, but we can't see with your own eyes, but you can directly mention that orthoclase, no problem in that. Now once you are going to make out the classification from the color itself, acidic we can mention. Second one, with the fine we can make the volcanic, acidic, volcanic. And now here what we are going to make out, calc alkali series, alkali series, alkali calc series we can mention, alkali calc series we can write down because of the pelagic. But if albite is there, we can identify, then we will write a calc alkali series rock. That is the rhyolite is there. So have the same composition, granite and rhyolite. Yes, the next one, the important rock, that is the gabbro. Yes, you can see the dark color is there. So melanocratic, dark color. Yes. So that is the, from the color itself we get going to get that the magma which is there. It is a basic magma or ultra basic. You can make out basic magma. And now you can see the coarse grain. It is a coarse grain is there. Now it does not focus. It is not close one. So here we could not see the coarse grain are there, but it is the grains are there. In that, what the grains are there? Lakhs of plagioclase feldspar, abundant and dark color mineral like olivine. How are you going to identify olivine and augite? Very important one. Both are green color, but there is a difference. Olivine is olive green. Yes, that is a totally different color. Olive green, and whereas augite is a dark green. Remember, olive green and augite is a dark green. Immediately you will get the difference. So from here itself you can see the difference. Wherever you get the fine olive color, it is the olivine is present, and wherever the dark green is there, that is the augite. In addition, wherever the dark patches are there, dark things that we are going to see, that is the iron ore. So these are the things which are available in the hand specimen. Yes. So now on the basis of its color, we'll define this is the basic magma. On the basis of the grain size, protonic. And now here plagioclase there is called as calc alkali series rock, and that is the name of the rock is called as the gabbro. So gabbro, olivine and augite is present. Remember now. Yes. Next one, very important one, the pegmatite. Color, you can see the light one. Light color middle is there, and grain size is very coarse grain is there. Then the middle composition, you get quartz, colorless. In that we can get the variety of quartz. With a smoky you can get quartz, rock crystal. Most of the thing you are going to get the minerals in that particular pegmatite, which surface will be kind of white, and oily grains will be there. Feldspar cell is there, and in that feldspar we can get the orthoclase as well, microcline. These are abundantly found. And very important one, mica flakes, big mica flakes, whether it is biotite, muscovite or phlogophyte. So simply for FIBSC we just take the two one from their mica family. One we are going to take as a muscovite, which is the light color, and whereas a dark color is there biotite, dark brown to blackish in color, whereas muscovite light yellowish in color. So these are the two which is easy one. And how you are going to identify this mineral? Foliated form, pearly luster. These are the two important properties, diagnostic property by which you can identify this mineral in that particular rock. So this will be the composition of that pegmatite. Now come to the next one, very important one, type of rock or classification. Based on its color, we'll write it is acidic. Next one, based on the grain size, we'll write protonic. But now what is happening? I told you this is a exception about this pegmatite, because of it has been late crystallized in the intermediate stage due to the gaseous and volatile constant 10 times or 20 times, it has become take a more time as compared to the plutonic to crystallize. So grain size as compared to plutonic in this particular pegmatites are bigger in size. So this is the hypabasal. So it is the acidic. Yes, that is a very very important one. Hypabasal. Yes, and calc alkali series rock. If the your plagioclase is there, if the orthoclase is there, you can write as alkali calc series rock. Now, but in our specimen we have the calc alkali series rock. So this is what we have, the pegmatite. Yes, come to the last one, and there is types of basalt. These are the sample selected rocks we are taken for FYBSc. You should not want to give them more burden. So slowly we'll put some sample igneous rock in SY, then TY. So similarly in FY we are going to see only megascopic. But once you are going into SY, we have the megascopic as well as microscopic. Same rock is theory as well as practical. So both will be there. A similar one, some additional rocks will be there. Their same rock will be there in the theory as well as in the microscope. Theory and practical both will be come together. So this is the way we are going to plan it out. The way now this is the last basalt, very important one, and where we have living in a Pune, the Maharashtra itself is contained the volcanic eruption basalt. So here we have a black rock. So it is the melanocratic dark color rock. Yes, it is a dark color rock. So straightway it is a basic rock. Yes, it is a fine grain. So it is a volcanic because magmatic eruption is there. So fine grain rock is there, and in that also some of the rocks of basalt going to show you the porphyritic one. But here we whatever our sample is there in that porphyritic we are not taken. This is the fine grain we are taken. But as a theoretical, we have written that it fine grain porphyritic is there, merocrystalline, that is the 50% glass and 50% crystals are there, and plagioclase will be a bigger one. When you are going to see the porphyritic basalt, in that very big flakes of plagioclase are there in the embedded in that ground mass. So that is there. So here the mineral composition only when the porphyritic is there, we only you are going to see the plagioclase one. The rest dark color mineral we could not see, but we just mention that whichever the dark rock important rock forming mineral is augite, olivine, and or iron oxide. If you don't mineral have, then there is a iron oxide is present. So this will be the mineral composition we can write down for the rock basalt. Then when you are going to write the type of rock or classification based on the color, we'll make it as a basic. Fine grain we make it as a volcanic, and based on it is the silica that is a plagioclase, calc, alkali series rock. So here in this particular type classification we are not mentioned, but I am going to give that this is the specific things we can write down based on color. It is the basic one. Based on the fine color, it is the volcanic one, and it is based on the plagioclase, calc, alkali. If the orthoclase is there, the color will be somewhat a pinkish one. But now here we don't have pinkish one, so that means the plagioclase is there. So that is the way we are going to classify the rock, and we have to write down that information, and based on this particular information we will classify or identify the rock as a compact basalt. So in that basalt we have the types of basalts are there, but this is the first type where we are going to see that it is a very compact, nothing is going to see, very fine grain compact one. So this is the compact basalt we mentioned. So here we have the next one, what we are going to make out in that. The same one, this is the broad classification we are given on the back, but here we have been mentioned, this is the compact one. Now color which we are going to make out, the light, it is also a black one, dark color one, no spaces, no cavities, nothing is there, and plagioclase is colorless. We could not see a single crystal, but on just assuming that the dark color, augite and olivine, and in the case of fine grain there will be plagioclase is there. So this way we have to mention that igneous, volcanic, then basic calc alkali series rock. Why we written calc? Because plagioclase is there. So that is the compact basalt, one of the type. You can see the next type of this basalt is the vesicular. You can see the vesicles. When the magma is erupted on the surface, then what is happening? 70-80% gases are evaporated, but still some gases are there, and upper part has been started forming the thin film, and it creates a pressure, and pressure will be exerted on the whatever the gases which are there inside. They are compressed and they wanted to escape, and through the bubbles these gases will be escaped, and once the bubble has been broke out, whatever the size shape is there, it will be preserved as it is, and this will be formed as a vesicles in that rock itself on the from the surface. Then this will called as vesicular structure. These are the cavities from where the gases are erupted or evaporated. Then the mineral composition, plagioclase, as usual in the basalt is there, which is latch shape, but here we could not see plagioclase also. A dark color mineral, assuming it is augite and olivine is there, iron oxides, and igneous, basic, volcanic, calc alkali series rock. Again, the plagioclase is there. On the basis of that, because pink color is not there, so on the basis of that, we are going to write down it is the basic rock on the basis of color. On the grain size, it is volcanic, igneous, calc alkali series rock. That is a vesicular basalt. Next one, these vesicles are now filled by the secondary material. That is that they are exposed to the atmosphere. Then during the rainy season, the water will be flow from one direction to the another. So they carry some soils material or dissolved material, and water will be deposited into that cavity. And once the water has been evaporated, the material will be deposited. Slowly in a long duration, what is happening? These cavities are filled by the secondary material. And now, once these cavities are filled by the secondary material, these cavities are called as amygdules, and the structure is called as amygdaloidal structure. So here we have the amygdaloidal structure. Black color rock is there, so melanocratic. Amygdaloidal structure, cavities are filled by the secondary material, that is a calcite or maybe a silica is there, that is called as amygdules. Then the what is the composition? Again the same composition, plagioclase, because it is a somewhat grayish or black color, so plagioclase is there. Then dark color mineral, augite, olivine, and iron oxides. So this is where you are going to define the amygdaloidal basalt. When you are going to come to the writing the type of classification, first one on the basis of color, basic, fine grain, it is volcanic, igneous, and now basis of the plagioclase, calc alkali series rock. This is the way you are going to write down the classification of amygdaloidal basalt. And the last rock from this particular practical, we have pipe-like amygdaloid basalt. This is because we are in Maharashtra, so we are going to see all the types of varieties of we have not taken the columnar basalt, but we have only the last one is the pipe-like amygdaloid. Whatever the vesicles are there, they are interconnected, and these interconnected cavities are being filled by the secondary material, and a pipe-like a structure will be forming. Color is a dark of that rock, so it is a melanocratic. Then pipe-like structure, some open spaces will also be there, calcite or silica. Normally these will be there, or zeolite we call them directly. Then a mineral composition, plagioclase as usual, colorless will be there. And the next one, dark color minerals will be olivine and the augite, and if no minerals are there, then iron oxide. So they are there. So when you're going to write the classification on basis of color, it is a basic. On the grain size, it is the volcanic, and on the basis of the feldspar, it is the igneous, calc alkali series rock. So this is the way you have to make out the classification. I hope now we have seen granite, rhyolite, because both have the same composition, one on the top, one on the bottom. One is volcanic, one is the plutonic one. So that rock we have taken. Gabbro we have taken. Then we have taken the pegmatite and all the basalt varieties. Compact basalt, vesicular basalt, amygdaloidal basalt, pipe-like amygdaloidal basalt. So this is our practical for the FY BSc. I hope this will be clear once you see this specimen in the practical, because nowadays due to the pandemic we could not go to the department and use our sample. So have you taken the photographs of this particular rock, and I have shown you in this picture so that you can get the familiar. Once you see this rock in the practical, and one or two times if you see these videos before your examination, this will be become more easy, more comfortable, and theory as well as practical, it is useful. I hope you like my video, and thanks for visiting my uh, channel.